Okay, we are live. Hello, welcome everyone. Today we have another great webinar in the Human DeFi Hack series that we have prepared for you to get the most out of the hackathon. And today is a very special day. We have the luck and the honor of having with us Milan Radkov, who is the superhero tech lead and also an Eternity core developer. And he will explain us how superhero is built and how it works, so you can be able to propose and to think new features on top of superhero that will opt for the 5,000 USD in AE tokens price. So today, Milan is the one that has the explanation, and we are very grateful for it. So I'm not going to stand myself anymore. Please, Milan, turn your video on, go to the stage, and the audience is yours. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the session.
Hello, let me share my screen. Okay, can you see it?
Yes. Great.
Okay.
Looks great.
And I guess you're also seeing me, or? Okay, good. So as Alex mentioned, I'll be presenting Superhero Under the Hood today. I'll be showing you how it is built, what is the architecture, what are the components of Superhero, and I'll briefly explain how everything works, what technologies have we used, what are the desired functionalities that we were trying to achieve, and if you have any questions, I will be here to answer those. Hopefully we'll have a good discussion after the presentation. So as Alex already introduced me, I'm Milan. I am currently taking the position of lead developer for the Superhero project, which means I'm mainly working on the architecture, the technologies that we are integrating and using, and discussing with the team, having decisions being made on the specific technologies that we use. And also I'm taking part, when I have enough time, coding parts of the Superhero, mainly some of the smart contracts, and more actively in the wallet. I'm also part of the Eternity community for a couple of years now, and I'm actively contributing on some of the repositories and projects around Eternity as well. So what is Superhero? Some of you may already have heard of it, some of you may already have used it, some of you may haven't. So I will try to briefly explain before going into details. Superhero is a new open source decentralized social platform which allows content creators to be rewarded in a peer-to-peer way, giving the ability to users to directly tip content creators and public URLs on the internet that they have found useful without any intermediary which would take any fees from them or would slow down the process of receiving the value on the other side from the content creator side. So the idea is you, as a user of Superhero, are browsing the internet, you find some great blog post or interesting information that you want to share, and you also want to reward the creator of that blog post or information or content in general. You are able to tip them and send value using cryptocurrency, currently Eternity, and they would be able to receive that in an instance if they have verified their ownership of that particular content. Otherwise, a smart contract would hold it until the owner of that particular content verifies themselves and claims the tip. So this is how currently Superhero looks like. This is a sort of X-ray image that I drafted to visualize the architecture of Superhero. We have different parts, modules, and different repositories. In GitHub, also different modules and microservices that are running simultaneously, and together they all create Superhero as it is currently. So we have Superhero Wallet. We have blockchain wallet. Currently, it supports Eternity because Superhero is built on Eternity and allows you to interact with the Superhero platform. We have the Superhero UI, which just for your information, I'll be going into details for every part of this image on the next slides. So briefly, I'll just explain now what is what, and then we'll go into details. We have the Superhero UI, as I mentioned, which is the tips aggregator or the main feed where we see all of the tips. We have a bunch of smart contracts. These are Sophia smart contracts deployed on the Eternity mainnet, which allows us to send a value to people that haven't yet verified their ownership of particular URL, and also allow them to claim those tips via the blockchain. We have a couple other also smart contracts, which allows us to query oracles for specific information that we need in order for this to run in a decentralized manner. And we have the oracles themselves. These are independent scripts or services that are run by community members of Eternity. And hopefully we would welcome more people to run oracles of themselves to become a Superhero oracle provider, and allows us to extend the decentralization of Superhero across more community members. We have a community backend, which is a small off-chain backend, which allows us to filter, query, cache, and search in the tips. So the Superhero UI displays that in a faster and more optimized way. As we all know, in blockchains, we are constantly facing this issue with the most relevant information. As with every transaction, the state may change, and we need to be aware of that changes. So in Superhero, we have integrated a caching layer that would allow us to have a more optimized and faster response, and also without overloading users' bandwidth or the blockchain itself. We have some additional smaller modules, which are in this case Superhero avatars and Superhero Utils, which I will also go into details and explain further what those are exactly. So first, starting with the UI. The Superhero UI is basically the thing that you see on the superhero.com website. It is a Vue.js web app that displays the aggregated tips in the smart contract and has some additional functionalities as well. First, it allows us to send tips directly from the UI instead of just from the wallet or directly attaching to the contract. We have a tipping section where you can paste the URL that you want to tip. You can also type some message of appreciation and select how much value you want to send to that particular URL and that particular content creator. We have the feed, which is fetching in a real time the information from the smart contract and displays in an infinite feed, similar to other social media platforms such as Twitter, Facebook, and others that we have used to use. We see all of the tips that are being sent, and we are able to retip those or start commenting or sharing some info regarding those. So on your superhero feed, you also have social features such as comments, notifications, you have tagging, you have hashtags, and all of the features that one is used to use in a traditional social media platform. We have the previews, which are basically generated by the backend. I'll explain more about this in the next slide. And these previews allows us to see better image, snapshot, or video, more richer content of the tipped URL. So we have a more good-looking and interactive feed in the superhero aggregator. In the superhero UI, the users also have a section for managing their profile. In the profile, a user is able to set their bio, their location. They're able to upload a custom avatar. They're able to upload a custom cover image. And also they're able to pin and attach different tips to their profile page, which would allow content creators and users of Superhero to build up their profile or social media channel, or similar to how other platforms allow their users to build up their page or profile. And a couple other things that we also have in the aggregator. These are the statistics, activity, and trending sections, which displays relevant information for the current trending hashtags, and also the total aggregated amount of tipped value, the number of tips, and the number of active users that are currently using Aeternity, and also some statistics regarding the blockchain itself. We have two third-party applications that we have integrated, and we also have a way to integrate more. Currently, those are the Meet and the Voting app. Starting with the Voting app, this is the Eternity Governance app that is created using Sophia smart contracts and allows us to create and express votes and polls using await delegated voting. That would mean that using a smart contract, you're able to create a poll with provided information for the vote that you want the users to vote on, and you are able to create different types of answers that the vote can receive. And then the users of Superhero are able to express their opinion on different questions or whatever the poll is trying to get information about. As I mentioned, this is a weight delegated voting, which means if some of you as a user don't want to constantly be aware of all the votes happening, you are able to grant your and delegate your tokens to somebody else. let's say a friend of yours or somebody else that you trust, would express your opinion nicely, you are able to delegate those, and then the user are voting using their voting power and yours combined. And at any point, you can withdraw that delegation and you can vote using your own wallet with your own opinion on specific poll. This is integrated in Superhero as a iframe version of the governance that is running on governance.aeternity.com, and allows us to create votes for Superhero. Currently, there is no mechanism that would self-execute after the vote is being completed. So this would only allow us currently to gather the opinion of the users and then decide what to do with that. The next functionality is the Superhero Meet. We have third-party integrated Jitsi server, which is the one that we're currently using for this specific meeting. It is an open source conferencing tool, which we modified for Superhero to first be with the Superhero branding and the Superhero colors in order for it to fit and to be nice for the users to use. And second, we extended it to allow direct tips between the users, which would allow different users to send themselves value while conferencing in this Superhero Meet. And it also has the traditional functionalities for chat, screen sharing, and everything else that we are currently using for video conferencing tools. The next crucial piece of Superhero's architecture is the Superhero wallet. It has three different let's say versions. We have a web version of the Superhero wallet, which is a web app built with Vue and running as a web app on wallet.superhero.com. We have browser extensions for the same Superhero wallet, which are available on the Firefox and Chrome stores. So the users can also install a browser extension and use Superhero wallet as extension. And we also have mobile apps for iOS and for Android phones, allowing the users to manage their Superhero accounts on their mobile phones. Superhero wallet first is a generic aeternity wallet, which means it allows the users to interact with the Aeternity blockchain, to manage their identity and their accounts. Users can also manage the networks that they connect to and see all of the transaction history they've made and everything else that a traditional wallet allows users to do in the blockchain space. But also Superhero wallet has a built-in functionality for the tipping and claiming, and also functionality related to the Superhero project itself. So this wallet allows you to send direct tip to any URL that you find on the web while browsing. It also injects a tip button in YouTube and Twitter and other big platforms to allow the users easily to send value without hesitating what to do. and also some functionalities which are related to the connection with different Eternity-based applications. Superhero Wallet supports the AX2 standard, which is the standard in Eternity for RPC communication and connection between applications using the Eternity JavaScript SDK, and also supports the AX9 standard for fungible tokens. So you are able to use also tokens that are built on top of Eternity using smart contracts in that wallet, manage balances, and send, withdraw tokens, and every other operation that involves tokens. As I mentioned, sending a tip via the extension is possible, and this is one of the main benefits of using Superhero Wallet against others. The activity history and the transaction history, if we go into details, they're using the Eternity's middleware, which is a layer on top of the node itself, which indexes the blockchain and allows us to query for different types of events and transactions. The activity history also displays the tips that were sent by this user and to this user. We have a service that caches all of the events fired in the tipping contract to decode and populate different statuses and payloads in order for the user to see their tipping history in the transaction and activity history sections. Okay, going forward with the Superhero backend, as mentioned, we have a small backend in the architecture of Superhero. It is used for processing and storing mainly off-chain comments and user profiles. All of the information that I mentioned that you as a user can modify, such as avatar, bio, display name, and every other user preference is stored on this backend off-chain. And furthermore, it fetches and caches the latest tips from the tipping contract and serves that information in a form that is easier for filtering and displaying in the front end of Superhero. We have also a module, the preview generator, which visits every, we have a Chrome headless browser running in that module, which visits all of the tips, the tipped URLs, and generates a link preview for the tipped URLs. It is crawling the specific URL and taking a screenshot of the page. If there is no image associated with the web page meta description, because some pages, as you know, have this information in the meta tags and allow social media and other services to display the selected image and information associated with that URL. We have the notification service running in the backend. We have the statistics service, which also calculates and aggregates all of the tips and statistics needed for display in the UI. The notification service, I can go into a bit more detail, allows us to notify Superhero users when somebody commented on their tip, or if somebody sent a tip directly to that specific user. This notification service is also integrated with the wallet, so the users of the superhero wallet would be able to see if anyone has tipped them, or they received a comment, or somebody tagged them on a specific post. As I mentioned, in the backend, we are storing the off-chain data, the comments and the profiles. This is stored as a backup on IPFS on hourly basis. So currently, all of the information that is run on that backend is also stored on IPFS with our plans to have further deeper integration with IPFS, but currently it is used for storage only. We have this pay for TX service. A bit more details about it. It is used to process user claim requests and pay for transaction fees on the blockchain for users which don't have initial balance to call the contract themselves. As mentioned in the beginning, the tipping protocol allows us to store the tip in a smart contract when there is no ownership claimed of specific URL. And then the user that claims ownership is the one to create a transaction and call the contract in order for claiming the tips and the associated value with those. So we have this pay for transaction service that allows users that do not own previously a balance of aeternity tokens to pay for the transaction fee of the blockchain. They're able to claim easily without worrying for fees. The backend provides also a REST API for the services which are depending on it, and it's easy to integrate or explore. It also has a Swagger file, which if you visit the repository, you're able to see all of the endpoints and all of the data that is being served by a backend. And last but not least, we have this error reporting service, part of the community backend. In Superhero, we value feedback from users a lot, and that's why we have created a way for the users of the wallet to easily report bugs and donate crash reports, which are going to the backend and allows us to fetch those via the REST API. So we are able to easily and faster improve the product and resolve issues if there are any. All of the requests in the backend are guarded by a signature scheme. So the authorization there happens by signing messages with your wallet. And every comment or every action that you do as a user is being signed by your Superhero wallet with your identity. So this ensures that everything that we are storing in the backend and in IPFS cannot be modified by anyone that is hosting the service itself. And every time that you want to verify that, you can easily do it and explore the signature with the associated data or action that you have created or fired. The tech setup of the backend is Node.js based service, which is Dockerized and has a Redis database attached to it. The pay for transaction service is also running as a separate microservice in the backend, which is also a Node.js Dockerized Express server. And all of this is served by engines for serving the static files for image previews and express for the API itself. And further documentation can be found on these links for the GitHub repositories that I've shared underneath every slide. So if you have any doubts, you can visit and explore the code, self-host it, run it locally, and try out different things that you want. Okay, and finally, additionally, we have some utility services associated with that community backend, which is Greylock and status page associated for monitoring, which allows us to keep the backend always up and accessible. The superhero smart contracts are part of the tipping protocol. They are, as mentioned several times already, used for storing tips for users to claim later. And we have various versions of tipping contracts. I'm now going to briefly explain every single one of those without getting into details in the code for now. But if needed, if any one of you is interested after the presentation on the question and answer session, I can provide also code examples. So the tipping contract is used as an intermediary sort of between the tipper and the claimer. It stores the tip and allows the user to claim by calling the claim method of the contract, which invokes an Oracle verification for that specific URL, and afterwards the tip is forwarded to the specific user. The superhero tip protocol works in that way, and as mentioned, if there is already ownership associated with that specific URL, there is no need for the user for the value to be stored in the contract. It would be relayed automatically to the specific account or blockchain name that owns the page or the content. So the tipping contract version 1 is the initial implementation of the tipping protocol, which allows us to tip different URLs and users with the native token of the blockchain network, that is the aeternity token, and allows us to also store all of the information in the state of the contract associated with the tips, the claims, the owners, and the oracles that are verifying the specific claims. In that contract, retip is also possible, which means if somebody already tipped a specific URL, you can, as a user or as a person that finds that tip in the superhero feed, attach additional value to the initial tip. So you can send more value to that specific content creator or URL. The tipping contract version 2 is an extension of the first tipping contract, which allows us to also send tokens, send fungible tokens to URLs or to users directly. So currently, the tipping can happen using the native currency for the blockchain and also custom tokens, which are based on the AX9 protocol on Eternity. That would mean that you as a developer or user can create a token of your own and then reward content creators with it. As you find some content that you want to reward, you can send the tip in the selected currency or token that you want. And the tipping contract version 3 is something that we are still working on, but it would allow us to send and to publish posts on chain that are not necessarily carrying value with themselves. That would mean you as a user of Superhero would be able to send posts, images, Giphy GIFs, or any other media without necessarily sending a tip to a specific URL. And we think that this would bring more of a social feeling of the Superhero platform and have more interaction between users and more dynamic content on the feeds. And the last contract noted here is the Oracle registry contract. As mentioned, there are oracles verifying the tips. We have a special contract which lists all of the available Superhero oracles and relays the oracle queries so they can answer and verify the claims. I'll go into details now here. The oracles in Eternity, not sure if all of you have heard about this. They are entities in the blockchain running on the layer 1, which allows the users developing smart contracts on Eternity or decentralized applications to bring real-world data to the blockchain itself. And in Superhero, the use case for oracles is verifying ownership of specific URL or domain or website to the blockchain smart contract for the tip claims. The idea is that the oracles would independently crawl the tipped URLs and check for the presence of a .chain name or an account name that would indicate the user have access to the HTML of that page, meaning that they are administrators of that URL or that page, and they own the URL in that regard. They are part of the tipping protocol, the ones that we have implemented, and they are currently a trusted set, which means in order for you to become an oracle in Superhero, you need to be approved by all of the others. Currently, there are community oracles guidelines being prepared, so every one of you or every other user of Superhero that wants to run an oracle and support the platform in that way would be able to do so by following the guidelines with examples of how to set up the script, what is needed for them to do in order to spin up such service and to start contributing to Superhero. A bit more details about the Oracle script that is run by this Oracle service. It consists of two parts. We have the contract that is storing the list of oracles and this Oracle script. So the Oracle service is can be run by anyone that wants to become an oracle in the system. It is a Dockerized Node.js script, which is crawling the URLs given in an Oracle query to verify whether there is a .chain name or address that is matching the claimer's request. In order for the script to do that, it runs, again, a headless browser and an HTML parser, and automatically detects if there is a .chain name or an eternity address in the HTML of the page and responds in the Oracle query on-chain. So the tips can be relayed to the specific claimer, or they are still blocked in the contract until somebody else verifies ownership. The setup for the service is the Sophia smart contract that I mentioned as a registry. It keeps track of the registered oracles in the system and the minimum amount of oracles needed for claim verification. This is something that I forgot to mention. So there is a minimum amount of oracles that needs to make consensus to agree on the ownership of the specific account or the chain name over the tipped URL. And when they agree on that, basically this is the rule for unlocking the tip. We have the Superhero Avatars service. This is a server-side avatar renderer. It runs again in a Dockerized container. This is a small Express server that generates deterministically avatars for your .chain name or your aeternity account. And it has the specific setup that we have used with those libraries for Superhero across the different projects and sub-projects. The wallet uses this Superhero Avatar service and the Superhero UI as well. You as a user can also access it. It has a public API which can be accessed by checking out the documentation in GitHub. And you can always deterministically fetch the avatar of specific .chain name or account. And lastly, we have the Superhero Utils. This is a small repository holding two embeddable scripts. One is the tipping button, and the second is the paywall script. The tipping button allows us to inject a small Superhero branded button in our website or blog or whatever else we have that we want to accept tips on, which displays the value currently accumulated for that URL and allows anyone to click on it and send us a tip. It would lead the users to the web wallet if they don't have the extension, the Superhero extension installed in their browsers. So they would still be able to create an account and send value if they want to tip. The paywall script, on the other hand, allows a content creator to embed this script in their piece of content, in their website or blog or whatever it is, and set up a minimum amount of crypto, of Eternity tokens that has to be sent using the tipping protocol in order for unlocking the content. This is running similar of how traditional paywall scripts work, just the verification is done on blockchain and the tip is sent using the tipping protocol in a fully decentralized manner. So I guess that was it. I would invite you to try out Superhero, check out the repositories, jump on board, start using it, and if you are a developer, you can also contribute or build on top of it. Feel free to bombard me with any questions that you may have now.
So, Milan, we already have some questions here in the chat. I don't know if you can see them.
Mm-hmm.
For example, someone asked if the avatar can be changed by the address or .chain name owner.
So the avatar can be changed by the owner only in the scope of Superhero. If you go to superhero.com and log in with your profile, on your profile section, you would be able to upload a custom avatar, which would be the one associated with your profile across the Superhero project. But if anyone else wants to use that avatar, they won't be able to reach it as it is currently stored on the backend and it's stored off chain.
Also, another question is, I have a chain name displayed in my extension, but for some reason it won't appear here in the room. How to set a name pointer?
So if you go in your extension, in the 3 bars menu, there is the name section. And if you click on the name that you own, there is a button set name pointer where you can post the public address or the contract address or Oracle or whatever else you want to point your address, your .chain name to. So you can paste your AK_ address there and set the name pointer. This would create a transaction on chain for setting your pointer, and then if you would need to reload the Jitsi again in order to your name to be shown.
Yeah, maybe it would be also good to show, like with the screen share, like where to go in the settings of Superhero browser extension, because I think it might be difficult for new users to find where to set the name pointer.
Let me try to share my full screen. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
So if you go in your extension, names, and then click on any name that you want to point, there is this button set name pointer. Currently, I have already set my pointer to this account, but I can go here and set anything else that I want. Click set name pointer, and that would, currently this is a development version, so that's why I have this error, but it would allow you to send the transaction on chain and set the pointer for that name.
Perfect. Then also, Jet asked here, if the avatar is changed on the Superhero platform, can one use the get method to get the new avatar using the Eternity Superhero Avatars project?
So currently the backend is not exposing the custom created avatars, but you can fetch it. It's not exposing it on a separate endpoint, but you can fetch the full profile for a specific address and you can get it there. If you go to Eternity Shipping Community Backend, there is the documentation here and the Swagger, so you can check the profile. This would return this JSON with the cover image, the current image, the biography, and everything else associated with that profile.
Jed was asking for the link.
So the link is, I'll send it. It's the repository of the community backend, and in the documentation here in the README, you can find the hosted version of the Swagger.
Then we had another question by Guillermo. He was saying, I've read some ideas about how to make Superhero a top-notch platform. Is Superhero able to scale in order to support big live streamings?
So currently we are in a phase of preparing the Meet functionality to be scalable for big streaming events and for more users. But this is currently hosted by us, and we would put efforts more on the distributing these parts of the platform as well, in order for other people to be able to host such streaming events and the infrastructure needed.
Then we have another question by Jet. He was asking, also, if one wants to save a user account details just like it was used in AStudio, how does one go about that?
Sorry, can you repeat it?
If one wants to save a user account details just like it was used in AStudio, how does one go about that?
I would probably need the author of the question to elaborate more on the specific details that they want to save, but all of the details are publicly accessible. So you can either fetch those using the API of the backend, or you can use, if you develop anything, you can connect to the Superhero wallet of the user and fetch the details needed from there. That would be probably the public key and the avatar and the balance associated with that.
Then we have another question from Elisabetta. Is Superhero going to be able to have messaging and notifications?
Currently, Superhero wallet has the notifications enabled, and we are planning expanding those in the Superhero UI as well. For the messaging, we have planned that, but to some degree it is overlapping with the Superhero Meet functionality, where you're able to also use direct messages. So it's not a top priority for now.
Also, anyone, you can also speak up. You don't have to only write the comments, but yeah, for now I will just read the comments. We have another question from non-Irish Langer. I see that I received a tip, but how can I claim it? Maybe you can also do a quick screen share to show like how you can claim a tip.
Yep, you can go. Let me try to share my screen again. You can open your wallet. There is a claim tip that would automatically fill the current URL that you are on, and you can claim the tip that way. So if you know where the tip is sent, you can claim it by visiting the URL, opening up your wallet, clicking claim tip, and then confirm. The other way is for you to find it somewhere here in the feed, and then using the three-dot menu, you can also claim it. Or you can go to your profile and find the tip that you want to claim. Let me try someone that I think is not claimed. Let's try on my GitHub profile. Not sure if there is a tip associated there, but I remember that there was. So you go here, click claim tip. Okay, currently there are no tips for this URL. I'll send the tip then. Okay, I'm sending a tip now. You see my balance was, so subtracted. The transaction has been sent. And if I click claim tip now, I have requested to claim this tip, and my balance was updated again with the tip.
Wow, that was super fast.
Yep. So if you verify your profile, that means you put your, currently I have put my .jname here, but you can do it on any part of the page that you find usable. It would be very fast. If I don't have my account or .jname anywhere on the page, the tip claim would not be successful. The tip would stay in the smart contract until I verify the ownership of this page by putting my public key or my .jname somewhere in the HTML and trying to claim again. So if you have received a tip, you only need to verify the ownership of your URL or page or profile or whatever the tip you have received on by posting your .jname or public key somewhere on the HTML of the page and then claim.
Then we have some more questions that go in the same direction from Ellie. She's asking, where do you see that you have received the tip?
In the profile section of the Superhero, of Superhero UI, in your profile section, you're able to see the not claimed tips amount, but this currently only shows you the amount that you have aggregated for the pages that you already have verified ownership of, which means if you successfully claimed a specific URL and you receive another tip on that, you'll be able to see the unclaimed balance on your profile. If you have received a tip on a URL that you don't that you don't have ownership of in terms of verifying it, there is no way for the Superhero platform to know like who is the owner of that URL. So it is responsibility of the tipper to notify you somehow that they've sent you a tip in order for you to claim it.
Then another question from Ellie here. I see on my profile 4 tips received, but this is maybe reflecting the tips I sent from this wallet.
Yeah.
And what happens with the unclaimed tips?
Currently, the unclaimed tips are staying in the smart contract indefinitely until somebody claims it. And in the future, there could be probably a voting for what to do with those unclaimed tips with the next versions of the tipping contracts and improving the tipping protocol. Using the voting app, we can ask for users' opinion and maybe use it for donating it to charity or any other purpose after, let's say, 2 years passes and nobody claims it. But currently they are staying in the smart contract. There's no action being made on that.
All right, I think so far we covered all of the questions. If you have any more questions, please just raise your hand and you can just speak up directly. Jeremiah?
Yes, I have a question. Is there any general calculation of calculating the cost of running your maybe the cost of running or the cost of using aeternity blockchain, just in case if I want to build something on or I want to integrate my application or my idea on Superhero? I just want to know the blockchain, the cost of running.
So if you visit the Eternity protocol repository, there are several tables with the gas amounts for specific operations that you would execute in a smart contract. And you can calculate it by the contract that you're planning to use, or you can also use the AE Studio or any other IDE that would present you this. When you develop your contract, you'll see the gas usage for a specific method that is being called, and you can calculate by the current price and the gas used what would be the cost for executing a specific method of your contract. But there is nothing that would that can display this generically now, because it is strictly dependent on your logic in the smart contract. So
Thank you.
Welcome. So it's better for you to develop the contract and then try it out on the testnet or calculate it by the current price and the gas usage.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeremiah. Finally, there was also a question from Non-Irish Langer if he needs to do anything else when he receives a tip via Twitter. And it's the same like in GitHub, basically. You just need to put your wallet address or .chain name in the profile in your bio section, like in the text that you can edit, and just claim the tip by going on that URL and going to the Superhero browser extension, then on claim tip.
Yep. It is the same. You just put it in your Twitter profile bio, and then you can claim it.
But for YouTube, I think it's even easier. You just need to put the name in the video description. It's not necessary to have it in the channel.
Yes, for you can also do the same with Twitter. You can also put it in the specific tweet that you want to claim.
Okay, cool.
But it's easier if you just verify your profile by putting it in your bio, and then you can easily claim every tip that you receive.
Then we have one final question here from Alex. Do you think it would be feasible to build something like Superhero on another network, for example, relying on external not built-in oracles?
I think it is possible, but currently Eternity is the best fit because we have everything that we need built in. Everything else would require more bigger waiting times for the users to receive their tips, because in Eternity we are able to predict and to estimate how much time every action would take. We know that the blockchain is fast enough and allows us to execute fast transactions and have the oracles fit easily with the current approach with the smart contracts. If we use another network or another protocol, we may find ourselves limited by either the speed of the transactions or by the lack of interoperability or integration between such non-built-in oracles and smart contracts. And also this would centralize it more. But it would be nice for the users to receive tips in different currencies. We have thought about this, and maybe in the future we would integrate more tightly JSwap or other protocols for atomic swap between different networks. So this would allow people to still use Bitcoin or other networks, let's say, for sending the value, but still allowing the user to receive it in whatever else currency they want.
Great, thank you. I see even everyone who, one more question from Uluwatu Singh. I was about to say the one superhero user here who didn't receive a tip yet from me. Please, can you show me how to receive tips again? I didn't get it the first time.
Okay, I'll share my screen again. So first you need to have your extension installed, or you can use the superhero.com, but I'll show it with the extension because it's easier. I'm going to send a tip to this URL, and then I'm going to claim it. If you open your extension and click this send tip button, it would prefill the URL that you're currently at, and it would ask you for an amount that you want to send and a message. You need to confirm that. That would execute a transaction on the blockchain and send it to the smart contract. We have sent to AE. You see our balance is abstracted, and now I can click the claim tip button. This would ask me for the URL that I want to claim. Currently, I want to claim this one because I sent the tip to this one, and I click confirm. It says that this URL has 2 AE tokens to claim. Click OK, and I have it in my balance back again. So the only condition that you would need to make before claiming the tip, I'm currently claiming it right away because I already have verified my ownership of this page. You need to put somewhere in the public HTML of the page your .chain name or your account. And I have put my .chain name here. You can see it. So if you inspect that element, you see that here we have, or better, if you view the page source, you would be able to find my .chain name. Cannot find it now, but yeah, it's here. Oops. Yep, on this page. I see my .chain name here, and this is also the thing that the oracles would see, and they would build up a consensus. Every oracle would independently crawl the page, check for .chain name or account presence, and if they see this one, they would answer the queries that they're asked with that specific string. And then if more than the half of the oracles agree that this is the chain and the chain name or the account that owns the page, they would relay the tip here to that account.
Milan, that you're already in the screen share, Jeremiah was asking where you can get your chain name on the Superhero browser extension.
Mm-hmm. Let me share again. So if you open the extension and click the menu here, this is the names section, and you can click register here, the third tab, and you can put whatever name you want. Sorry, I won't be able to demonstrate with this testing version of the wallet that I have because it's not fixed yet, but this is basically where you claim your .chain name. You go to the register section, you click here, type in the name that you want, and click the plus button. Currently, there is a limit of 13 characters because the names need to pass into an auction. the shorter names need to pass into an auction, but the longer names can be claimed instantly. And we will be removing that limit in the next release of the wallet, so people are able to claim names that are shorter and participate in the auctions. The specifics about the aeternity naming system are explained very well in the protocol repository, where you can see how much time a .j name has to pass through an auction in order to be claimed, depending on the length. And there is also the bidding mechanism explained.
All right. I think we're good for today. Unless there's someone still raising their hand or wanting to speak up now. Okay, I think we're good. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Milan, for giving us this in-depth overview of how Superhero works under the hood. And it was really enlightening, let's say, for a user like me to understand now like what's all behind this, because like as an everyday user, you would have no idea how much work is behind everything in Superhero, and it's really interesting how decentralized it works actually, like through oracles and smart contracts and everything.
Nice. I'm glad that I was able to explain it.
Anyone who still have questions, you can just type them in the Discord chat. Milan is also there as a mentor, and he can also help you with your questions about Superhero.
Yep.
Right. Thank you, everyone. See you at tomorrow's webinar with Felipe Piwowarski, who will tell us more about Eternity oracles. And we'll also have a really interesting technical webinar tomorrow.
Thank you.